So today we're going to talk about home ownership. When you buy a property, what type of home ownership do you have? And so I'm going to send that over to Lisa Dastuto. And what type of home ownership do you deal a lot with?
I solely just deal with, so your whole ownership would be you. You own the home. It's all yours, free and clear. You can do whatever you want to the home. Now, if you pass away, then, as long as you have a will, it will go to whoever you assign it to. And if not, it would fall in the hands of the jurisdiction, in the state or where you live. So
Right.
that's probably the simplest ownership, to be honest with you.
And what is that called?
So sole ownership.
Sole owner. I got you. I got you. And that is true, taking, having your home, being a single person and
Mhm.
owning it absolutely the easiest. So Debbie, I'm going to throw it on over to you.
Hmm.
What do you see that you deal a lot with ownership?
I think probably one of the most common ways to hold title is going to be joint tenancy, where each person participating in the purchase of the home has an equal ownership of the property. And often too, let's say one person goes on the mortgage and gets the loan to purchase the home. If down the road somebody else wants to go on title, that's allowed. They can go on title as well, and it can be what's called a joint tenancy, either before the close of escrow or after. I'll read you the exact definition. As joint tenants, each person who has a share of ownership owns an equal share of the property. If one owner dies, which is really kind of the crux of how properties are held title, like what happens if a death or a divorce or whatever.
Right.
Then in this case, joint tenancy, that share passes automatically to the remaining owners. So I don't know about you ladies, but I think I see sellers opting for the joint tenancy more
Right.
than anything.
Right. Exactly. Well, Christine, what have you noticed with your clients? How are they holding title?
Well, it's interesting. I actually have a situation right now where I have these new buyers, first time buyers, and it was a boyfriend and girlfriend, but they have children together. And they originally applied for the loan, and it would have been joint tenancies with right of survivorship, right?
Mhm.
But the girlfriend ended up not qualifying for whatever reasons. They got a co-signer, his mother. Now, mother also works in title, so she knows enough to be dangerous, and she's really been pushing some buttons with the lender and myself
Right.
around title. And I spoke to him because he doesn't know anything about anything. So I said, listen, you have two options that you can title your house in. I said, you can always add anyone to a deed at any time.
Mhm.
I said, but as far as titling it for initially, I said, you could do joint tenancies with your mom, which means right of survivorship. Something happens to you, she automatically will get the house. I said, but where does that leave Miranda? I mean, I'm not saying your mom would do this, but you
Right.
guys
You
aren't
never
married.
know.
What if mom decides to sell the house or whatever? Miranda's
Or
got
doesn't like
kids.
her.
Yeah.
Right. So I
Yeah.
said the other option for you would be joint tenants in common,
Mhm.
which is what I'm going to explain now is with joint tenants in common, this means you guys will join the property together, own the property together jointly, but nobody can take it from the other person. You have to have both persons. So in other words, if something were to happen to you, mom would then, if you don't have a will, have to go to surrogate's office, and there would have to be this whole thing around who's going to be the person who managed the estate. And it protects Miranda in the home, because if you marry her, now she's automatically going to have a stake in the house, or if you leave a will. So, but joint tenants in common, basically, I'll read the definition to you for those who are listening. If my example is confusing you, I apologize. In the case of property is owned by two or more people at the same time, but the proportionate interests and the rights to possess and enjoy the property need not be equal, the owners can sell their share of the property if they wish, and upon death, the descendant's interest passes to his or her heirs, who then become new tenants in common with the surviving owners. None of the tenants in common automatically receive the share of the descendants, and that's the key. It's not automatic. So if you do that, and you're in the situation of this gentleman and his mom, and he doesn't have a will, she could actually go and become executor, and she could still end up possessing, because she's family, his portion of that.
His portion of it, to where
His
then
portion of that is sharing the house.
And
So
that's why
I wanted Jim.
people opt for that joint tenancy instead. Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
right. So she wants joint tenancies with right of survivorship. She says her reasoning for it is nothing against the girl, loves her to death like her own. But she said that when they go to finally transfer this, they won't have to pay transfer tax and extra fees. So that's okay, a consideration. But, I always say, for that crazy situation, what happens when people die? Suddenly people become different people.
they change. Absolutely.
Money's
It's
involved, property's
very true.
involved.
Mhm.
So she's going to
And
get her way.
I would love to know the cost. She's basing this off of, oh, it's expensive. It's the
Yeah,
cost.
yeah.
I guarantee you're
Yeah.
gonna find out the cost is a couple $100.
Right. And the son said
Mhm.
that fees aren't that big a deal. He's annoyed. It's creating a little, but whatever.
Within their
I said, listen,
relationship, yeah.
yeah, I said, listen, at the end of the day, the
Yeah.
goal is to get you this house. So she
Right.
stepped in, saved the day.
Mhm.
Let's give her what she wants now. But I said, I suggest that either you marry her, not just for the house, but or get a will that indicates where she has interest in this house. Make sure you have a will. That's all I can say. So, joint tenants in common is another
Good call,
type
Christine.
of ownership. Yeah.
These guys.
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
tough one.
Linda was like, wow, you know more about this than me. So how about you have that conversation with him? I said, okay.
Yeah. Looking out for
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
great. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I've lived in 3 different states, Texas, Nevada, and California. And all of them are a community property state.
Mhm.
And in actuality, there are 9 different states that have community property, and that's California, Arizona, Idaho, Louisiana, Nevada, New Mexico, Texas, Washington, and Wisconsin that all recognize community property. So I had a partner in real estate here, and they did not get married. And because of, for one, it being a community property state. So whatever is, and I've always told my husband, whatever yours is mine and whatever mine is mine. And so,
That's the way I roll.
and that's, and he's like, honey, we know, but also the thing is that when you recognize it as a community property state, it acquires it while you're married or while you are not married. So a lot of actors, actresses, they choose not to get married, but everything that they acquire during that relationship is community property. So it's amazing that many states, and we've lived in them all, are community property. So
Was that by design, Lisa?
Yes, it was. Absolutely. Well, with that noted, I'm Lisa Lamborghini here, and I'm in Carlsbad, California. And then I've got Debbie Lucas, who's also in Southern California, which is up in Westlake Village and that area. Then we also have Lisa Dastuto, and she's Jersey Shore, down by the shore. And then, of course, we've got Christine Boyson, and she's Monocle Hill in New Jersey. And I want to just thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell. Also follow us on YouTube. Thank you so very much for following us. And until next time.